Welcome, everybody. I'm Michelle Snyder, and I'm not a medical professional. I received a health coaching certificate from Light University in 2013, but that's as far as my official training goes. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. I don't have a lot of medical training behind me. And so I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm only telling you things that I know have helped me and have helped others. So I'm basically just someone who likes to research health and all things Bible. I'm always researching both topics and sharing what I'm learning with others so their lives can be better too. So my story is just to give you a little bit of background information. For 6.5 years, my husband suffered with a severe autoimmune disorder. And to make a long story short, we prayed, we took action, and today he is healed and he's off of all medications. And he was doing biological medications. One of them was over $11,000 per injection. It was a horrible, horrible season for us. And so I'm passionate about helping to provide others with what needs to happen in their bodies in order to be happy and healthy. So, hence, I took a workshop. I paid for it, and I'm bringing that information to you for free because it is so good. This was a 5-day workshop, and we covered topics like the nervous system, cortisol. You've all heard about cortisol, how it gives us that thick belly, that middle section. And so we talked a great deal about that last week. This week, we're going to be talking about food and how that impacts our hormones. And the week after this, next week, we'll be learning about sleep and how sleep even affects hormones. Who knew that? The fourth week, we're going to be talking about how movement affects hormones. I didn't know that. I just thought movement was good. I didn't know why. I guess it develops muscles and maybe helps you lose weight. It's about all I knew about it. But it actually helps our hormones. And finally, and this one was very shocking to me, community. It is so important for our hormone health to have others to, fellowship with, talk to, be around, rub shoulders with. That is critical. So we're going to be talking about those 5, and today is number 2. So we've got how many more? 3 more after this one.
Mhm.
And I have bullet points here on my computer, so trying to follow those along while I talk to you. We talked last week about how the circadian rhythm matters, right? How calming the nervous system restores balance with hunger and fullness hormones, because we're all so concerned about weight, aren't we? It starts with early morning sunshine, believe it or not, for 10 minutes, that's all. And it's free. We don't have to pay a cent for sunshine. As long as we get out there sometime within the first 2 hours after sunrise, it's good. And it works wonders, you guys, for bringing out the melatonin in the evening. I did not know that. I didn't understand much about circadian rhythm. And so what you do in the morning actually affects how well you sleep at night. And so we talked a little bit about that in last week's session. And if you didn't get to hear that one, just let us know and we will provide you with the replay. And it'll come up again next week when we talk about sleep. So be ready. Also, did you know that when we step outside for 5 or 10 minutes, any time of the day, just outside and do some intentional movement for just 5 or 10 minutes, as I said, we're bringing biochemical intervention that will be our topic next week. So, yeah, you got to come. No, is it next week or maybe the week after? Yeah, next week's sleep, then it's movement. Anyway, I hope you can attend all of these because they are going to be life-changing. I want you to know they're all 5 going to be recorded. However, it's more fun if you can be here in person. So try to be here if you can. Before we begin, I want to go over the Bible verse Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And it says this, In everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. He wants us to experience peace. But so often, the things that will cause us to not feel peace, or the one thing, is our body, right? It can really shake us of our peace. And I just want you to know that peace is spiritual, yes, but it's also physiological. Did you know that? They go together. And so today we'll be talking about resetting hormones with food. And you're probably going to want a paper and pencil to jot these things down. I'm not going to slow down or repeat things for you, but fortunately it is being recorded, so you'll be able to refer to it again. If you would like a copy of the replay, just let me know. So today, that's going to be our focus is food. So let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, again, you're going to want your paper and pencil close by. So hormones are chemical messengers, all right? Like insulin, cortisol, estrogen, thyroid hormones. They're all so important. And they respond constantly to what we eat. Blood sugar, ladies, is our hormone control center. It all starts there. Blood sugar directly, and I mean directly, impacts estrogen, cortisol, insulin, and so many others. Insulin, it's like the conductor. If the conductor of an orchestra, if he's on point and he's steady, the music flows beautifully. But if the conductor gets off, everything's a mess. Insulin is our body's conductor. And when we eat lots of sugar or refined carbs, our blood sugar spikes, our insulin surges, and it all leads to fat storage. And we don't like fat, do we? We're going to find out later, fat's not all bad, but anyway, we don't like what it does to our bodies, and it causes us to feel fatigued, and it of course imbalances our hormones. It's not a good thing. So, sugar and refined carbs, you guys already knew that. Balanced meals help. And these are the things that balanced meals help. They help with steady energy. You no longer have the surges and the spikes and the dips and all of that. Uh, a balanced meal reduces cravings, and a balanced meal provides better communication throughout our body. Our bodies are intelligent. I really have just recently come to understand that communication is going on inside our bodies all the time. And it's a fascinating study if you want to dig more into that. So, anyway, I mentioned fat earlier. Fat is really basically good because that equals hormone building blocks. Hormones are made from fat, ladies, especially cholesterol. And cholesterol is not a dirty word. Cholesterol is essential. Did you know that? I want to go into the fact that why fats are important. It's because they support our brain function. Who doesn't need more help with that? Is anyone kind of dealing with brain fog? It's a terrible feeling. Fat also helps with hormone production, and it reduces inflammation. Does anyone have inflammation? Okay, time out. We're going to talk about inflammation for just a little bit. Many people don't even realize their cells are inflamed. My story is I was inflamed. I didn't know it. I was looking for, puffiness like around my ring or my ankles. I was looking for red, if there was anything red, like I'd had an injury, scraped my hand or something, there would be inflammation. I knew that. I did not realize that our cells can be inflamed. And when I started addressing that with the things I put into my body, guess what? I started to look thinner. I found out that I was actually inflamed. I was totally inflamed. That's why I was having headaches all the time. I had ulcers. I had, oh, well, I won't even go in. I won't go into my story. That's not what this is about. But when I got that inflammation down, I looked like a different person. And some people have shown pictures of themselves before they started dealing with the inflammation and after, and they look like they'd lost 10 pounds. So a lot of what made them look overweight and probably did put weight on them was a result of inflammation, not fat. And so what happens in the gut is critical. And that's where this all takes place is within our gut. That's where it starts. And we're going to talk a little bit about GLP-1. Okay, it's produced in the gut when we eat. I did not even know that. I heard so much, we've been hearing a lot lately about GLP-1 this, GLP-1 that. And there some people take shots for GLP-1. I I didn't know. I thought the shots were just injecting GLP-1 into the body. I did not realize until I started studying about it that GLP-1 is naturally produced in our bodies. It also affects our brain. Have you guys ever heard of the gut-brain axis?
Mhm.
It's important. They talk to each other all the time. Our brain is like the second gut. It's so important, and we need to treat it well by what we put into our bodies. There's a very real and important connection between inflammation and GLP-1. And do you know what GLP-1 stands for? Just for the record, I had to look it up, so I spent time looking it up, so I'm going to let you know what it is. It's glucagon-like peptide 1. Just, does you don't need to know that, but I did. I needed to know. So I'm giving you that information for free. Anyway, it actually works both directions with the inflammation. So inflammation can affect GLP-1, and GLP-1 can influence inflammation. Did you realize that? Okay, so here's how they're connected. I'm going to try to give this to you in a clear, practical way. GLP-1 helps reduce inflammation, as I said. GLP-1 is not just about blood sugar. It has anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body. GLP-1 is good. It can lower inflammatory markers, which is what we all want to do. It helps calm inflammation in the gut, in the brain, and in the cardiovascular system. GLP-1 supports the immune balance. Chronic inflammation can disrupt GLP-1, the function of it. When the body is inflamed, and how does it get inflamed? From stress, from poor diet, from having gut issues, and all kinds of things can cause, autoimmune, all of it can cause inflammation. GLP-1 signaling can become less effective when the body's inflamed. Insulin response may worsen. Appetite regulation gets dysregulated. Blood sugar becomes harder to control. So inflammation can block the very benefits of GLP-1. All right, and what it's supposed to do. And so, do you remember what I said about the conductor? You're talking about GLP-1, insulin, appetite regulation, blood sugar, all these things. And if that conductor is not on point, our whole body system is a mess. And so, the gut is the bridge between GLP-1 and inflammation. GLP-1 is released in the gut, so a person's gut health is absolutely critical, ladies. Healthy gut bacteria equals better GLP-1 release. And I think we underestimate that. Less inflammation equals better hormone signaling. We want our hormones to be able to communicate with each other. So, yes, gut health matters and inflammation matters. When they're off, they disrupt GLP-1 signaling, they increase insulin resistance, they make weight loss more difficult, and they keep the body in a stress slash inflammatory loop. You just can't get off of it. It's like being on a carnival ride and you can't get off. So, supporting GLP-1 naturally and lowering inflammation can actually help calm that cycle. They can help you get off that crazy ride. So, how do we do that? Well, that's where food comes in, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Eat protein and fiber. Write that down. Protein and fiber, they're a must. This combination actually stabilizes the GLP-1 release. The combination prioritizes whole anti-inflammatory foods, whole foods. The processed sugars and oils and all those are the worst thing we can do for our bodies. This combination of protein and fiber can support our gut health. Probiotics, fermented foods, those are important. Does anyone love to make their own sauerkraut? We do that occasionally. I love homemade better than anything you can buy in the store. Protein and fiber manage stress. Does anyone have stress? Because the nervous system equals inflammation. The more stress you have, the more inflammation you're going to have. Get quality sleep as well. All right. And we're going to talk about that next week. So I hope you'll all be back. So a simple way to think about it is GLP-1 equals calm, regulation, and balanced hormones. Inflammation equals disruption and blocking of the stress signals. When inflammation goes down, GLP-1 works better. So don't try to take care of your GLP-1 without also addressing inflammation. When GLP-1 works better, inflammation tends to go down. It's just like they're doing this dance together. I like to think of it as that. So we don't have to think only about medications when we're talking about GLP-1 if we desire it in a different way. So there's no judgment here toward anyone who chooses the other way. I have nothing against medications. They've helped me and they've helped my loved ones many times in my life. There's a time and a place. But I just want to remind everyone that we do have this beautiful creation called our body. And it's good to think about how the body naturally produces and supports its own GLP-1. It produces it itself. So here are some things that we can know about foods that'll help with that. One thing that I'm sure everyone here knew except me, raise your hand if you knew this, that potatoes, rice, and oats are better for us if they're cooled. If you cook potatoes, rice, and oats, and you put them in the fridge and save them, have them, later, they're actually chemically changed when they're cooked and cooled. That's another piece of free advice that you probably didn't need because you knew, but I needed it. So, the following foods are rich in polyphenols. Okay, polyphenols. Polyphenols. And these are foods that are really, really good for our inflammation and GLP-1. Colorful plants, like spinach, things like that. You can look those up. And I don't know how to say this word. It's CACAO. It's like not cocoa, but cacao. How do you say it? Does anyone know?
Cocoa. Cocoa.
Cacao.
Cacao?
Cocoa.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Um, I like dark chocolate, and this was good news for me because dark chocolate is good for us. Berries are also high in polyphenols. Certain fruits, I know apples and others. Black beans. Oh, I love black beans for All of these things help with inflammatory issues. They're all good for heart and brain health. They're all good for metabolic support, for weight management, and for colon protection. We don't want to have what's called leaky gut. And you can Google polyphenols if you want. You could just say something like, give me a list of foods that are rich in polyphenols. And Google will tell you more than you want to know about that. So here are some good sources for fatty acids because they're equally as important. Avocados, olive oil, nuts and seeds, and fatty fish. Again, you can Google that. Protein contributes to hormone messaging as well. It stabilizes our blood sugar. It builds neurotransmitters. Transmitters, those are the things that affect our mood and our focus, like dopamine. All right. Dopamine is that feel-good chemical. And serotonin. Serotonin is for mood, sleep, digestion, appetite. It fights depression and anxiety. That's why so many people are struggling and they think they need an antidepressant and they, there are people that do, but they can change a lot of that just by changing their diet and eating some of these foods. And so you have to decide, are you one, between you and your doctor, decide if you're one that needs the antidepressant or if there are things you can do naturally to help with that. So it's a good conversation to have with your doctor. Another one that it builds up is endorphins. Well, we all like endorphins, don't we? They're natural pain relievers. Endorphins give us feelings of pleasure and well-being, something that's just almost unexplainable when you sense that. It's like, ooh, I just feel so good, and I don't know why. It's because of those endorphins. They're released in these ways. They're released through exercise, they're released through laughter. You guys, everybody needs a friend that will make them laugh. Raise your hand if you have a funny friend. Yes? Funny friends? I've got some funny friends. They really make me laugh. They're like a medicine. And the Bible says that laughter is like a medicine. That's why, because laughter produces endorphins. And do you know what else does? Worship. When we worship God, we forget about ourselves and we think about Him and we sing songs to Him. It pulls us out of the doldrums. So I love my endorphins. We can reduce cravings too by aiming for protein. You all know how important protein is. We need to have protein at every meal. It keeps our system steady. I'm going to just tell you what I weigh. I weigh 149. And for my weight, I'm supposed to get at the very, very least 55 grams of protein a day. But if I really want to do something good for my body, I have to aim for 105 grams. Not just aim for it, I have to reach it. 105 grams of protein a day. That's not easy. And so I've got a list of high protein foods, and you can also Google it as well. We need protein, especially if we want to lose weight. Even with all I've said, healthy food won't fully help if the body feels unsafe. So this is something really, really important. Write this down. Do not delay meals unexpectedly. And here's another one. I want you to underline this one twice. Steer clear of extreme dieting. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to eat that. I'm not, and I'm just like, then you go hours and hours without eating, and then you're starved, and your brain, it gets confused. And what your brain does is it behaves as if stores are low with crashing dieting, that crash we do. Don't do that. Don't, that's extreme. Repeated cycles of eating extremely, destroys communication. There goes the conductor down the tubes, and the orchestra is lost. Nobody can function. Our body no longer trusts us to provide what it needs. So, guess what it does? It holds on to those fats just in case. So, you're not eating and you're thinking, I'm going to lose weight. I can't wait to get on the scales tomorrow because I hardly ate anything at all today. Well, you're probably going to weigh about the same because your body is like, it feels threatened. It's like, ooh, I don't know if she's going to feed me or not. I don't know. I better not let this fat go. I might need it later. So, what I've learned it is that it's important to have 3 meals a day. This is the critical part right here, at consistent times as much as possible. Don't make your body guess. Your body needs to learn to trust you. Your body will say, if it knows for a period of time that you are going to be consistent, it will say, it's okay, food's coming, you're safe. You can release a little bit of that fat because I know food will be here and it won't hoard those fat stores. And I mean, I'm not a person that's really hungry. I don't know about you, but I don't live to eat. My husband lives to eat. He loves food. I eat to live. I just don't think about food and I get busy and I forget. And then, I'll walk by and I'll see a potato chips he has on the counter or something and I'll like, "Oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to grab some potatoes." That's kind of how I eat. Not when I'm on the healthy habits though, guys. We're doing our tracker and I'm being good. So, but those 3 meals a day are important. So what I would say for me is I don't need 3 meals a day. I could get by with 2 meals a day easily, but my body still needs to be fed. So it's not about our hunger. It's about giving our body what it needs. So I might snack on, carrots and what's that called? It's a thing you dip carrots in. Hummus, or I keep boiled eggs on hand. I just because I know like it's lunchtime and I'm really not hungry, I'll eat a boiled egg and a carrot and some hummus or something like that, just to get my body used to knowing food is coming. And I have to say too, this takes planning, ladies. You can't let yourself run out of carrots or eggs or those foods, those healthy foods, walnuts. You really have to stay ahead of it and realize that, oh, I'm getting short on this. I better go get some of this so it's here and ready to go. Because if it's not ready and you have to run to the store or you have to make something up, you're not going to do it. You're just going to grab a handful of potato chips and call it good if you're like me. So we've got to keep that stuff handy and easily accessible. The reason is we want our bodies to feel safe, and it will feel safe when we restore rhythm.
Mm.
The planets run on rhythm. The universe runs on rhythm. The sun, has a rhythm. The seasons have a rhythm. Our God is a God of rhythm, and our bodies are no different. We can create rhythm by being consistent, by having eating schedules, yes, with a balanced plate of protein, complex carbs, fiber, and healthy fats. It'll relieve so many problems for us if we just use food wisely. And I'm going to say it again. The body senses scarcity. When your body feels safe, it will regulate more efficiently. Remember that. So, simple daily rhythm for hormone support is this. Eat within 1 to 2 hours of waking. I know people do intermittent fasting. I'm not dissing on that, but this is just something for you to consider, to pray about, and to think about. All right. And that's if you're not doing intermittent fasting. You're going to eat within 1 or 2 hours of waking. You're going to include protein, fat, and fiber with each meal. You will not skip meals. Why will you not skip meals? because it stresses the body. It stresses the body when we skip meals. It's not good for us. Also, we need to stay hydrated and we need to limit our sugar and ultra processed foods. Stay out of those center aisles at the grocery store and just go around the outside perimeter and you'll be fine. And also support your nervous system with these things. Rest. Rest, 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 ladies, rest. Prayer. Slow breathing. We talked about slow breathing last week. It's so important. It is so, so important. I wish I could go into it again, but I'm not going to because most of you were here last week. So if not, please, please get a replay of last week's session to learn all these little tricks about breathing and how important breathing is. A simple way to say it is this: food is not just fuel, it's information. Every bite tells our body whether to store it, to burn it, to use that to heal something within us, or it's going to tell us to stress or not to stress. Stress amps up the cortisol, and we know where that will lead. It affects digestion, our thyroid, and so many other systems in our body. So, this is the deal I want to say to you, though. This is really, really important, and we're almost done. Ladies, have patience with yourself, please, and gently restore this communication in a way that honors God's design in our bodies. Don't let this cause you further stress. There are things we can do. Faith plus physiology. My friends, this is our sweet spot because we do have to deal with our physical bodies. We can have all the faith in the world, but we have to deal with what's going on in our temple. And the human body was designed with incredible wisdom. And you've heard me say this so many times before. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. So, peace and consistency will tell your body that it's safe to heal. And we heal with nourishing foods. We heal by slowing down our nervous system. And we heal by staying rooted in truth and peace. We will create an environment where healing can actually happen. Don't you want to do that? It's not about doing one little thing. It's not about daily workouts. It's not about taking supplements. It's not about just sleep. It's not about, they all come together. It's all important. It's about creating a body that feels safe, that feels nourished, and that feels supported. Stewardship of our bodies, ladies, it's not punishment. It's one way to honor and worship God. Did you know that? I have 1 Corinthians 6, 19 through 20 here, and it says, "Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God?" We have it from God. We have our bodies from God. We have the Holy Spirit from God. And he goes on and he says, "For you were bought with a price. Therefore, because of that, glorify God in your body and in your spirit." They're equal, body and spirit. Now, I believe the spirit is the critical point because if we gain the whole world and lose our soul, that's terrible. That's a travesty. But they both belong to him, it says in 1 Corinthians 6, 19 and 20, our body and our soul. So let's honor him with our body and our soul. Romans 12:1 says, "I urge you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, wholly pleasing to God, your spiritual worship. This can be our spiritual worship, just learning how to take care of our bodies and help them to function as they were created to function. So aim for a balanced plate, aim for consistent timing with your meals. And it's a good idea to have 10 minutes of movement after a meal. You've eaten a big old meal, maybe at dinner time, get up and walk around your house for 10 minutes. That's all you have to do. And also reduce stress by breathing and get some restorative and healing sleep. Those are the main points right there. God honors steady progress, not perfection. So don't let perfect keep you from progress, okay? As my friend Lisa says, and Jack, 1% better each day, right, Lisa? That's all we want, 1% better today than we were yesterday. Do not beat yourself up for falling short a little bit because we can pick ourselves back up and start over the next day. But I want you to know that information doesn't bring change. Write that down. Information doesn't bring change. Here's what brings change. Action on the information brings change. Okay? So it's well and good that we're all here, we're all listening to this, even on the replay, but it's not going to do anything unless we put feet to the fire. So last week we talked about how the nervous system affects our hormones. Let me know if you'd like the replay. This week it's about how food affects our hormones. Next week it will be about how sleep affects our hormones. The week after that, it'll be about how movement affects hormones. And finally, and this one will surprise you, as I said in the very beginning, community affects our hormones. I can't wait to tell you more about that one. So let's get together again next week. We'll finish covering all these things in the upcoming workshops that we have planned. And I just want to say I'm so grateful that you came today. May this be the beginning of living at peace in your body and living in confidence that God is near and that He cares about what we do to our temples. So that's all I have for you today.